Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. On this show, Arkansas State Supreme Court Justice Barbara Webb, who's a friend of mine and a friend of the ranch. And we'll be right back and learn more about Barbara Webb and the Supreme Court. Hey, welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this show, we are actually very happy, very excited, and actually honored to have Barbara Webb, who is on the Arkansas State Supreme Court. Barbara, I want to welcome you to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, on a previous show, many days gone by, we had a guy on the show named Doyle Webb, who somehow you were able to talk him into marrying you. How'd you do that?
That's a long story, Perry.
Okay.
I don't think you have enough time. But we actually met in law school, and I tell the story. The first time I met him, he was an upperclassman. He was a year ahead of me, and he was welcoming all these new freshmen to the class, or I don't know if they call them
at
1Ls.
Law school,
yeah.
at the law school.
Now Bowen, what you see with the 1Ls, he was being welcoming us and encouraging us to join a particular fraternity that he was a member of. And I looked at my friend, I said, that guy is really full of himself. So that was my first impression of my husband.
Has that changed in all the years you've known him?
No. We worked together on writing the Constitution for the Student Bar Association, because it was a new program when we were there. And so he, along with some other friends, we sat down and actually wrote the student constitution for the law school. And through that process, we became friends, and after friendship, we started dating, and
well, yeah,
the rest is
what you just said, I think a lot of people don't realize, but isn't really friendship how you become great marriage partners?
Yes.
It ought to be based in friendship. Let's go back a little bit, because as you came on to set today, I did not realize you're a Southwest Little Rock girl.
I am.
You lived
I'm
on
an 09er.
Drexel. You did what?
I said I'm an 09er, as they used to call us, our zip code. But
an 09er, 72209.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, when I moved from the Methodist Children's Home with my mom and my siblings, we moved to Southwest Little Rock on Azalea Drive. You lived over near McClellan High School on Drexel.
We first lived actually on Eagle Drive off of Chico. And that's where I actually attended Cloverdale Elementary, and then went to Watson Elementary, which I understand you have a family connection to.
My wife's grandfather is J.L. Watson Sr. He was way back superintendent of Pulaski County Schools. Now, I didn't tell you this, but I met him on Mapleville Cutoff, where my wife's family lived, just 2 houses from Mapleville Elementary. When J.L. Watson Sr. met me for the first time, Janet and I had just left the Benton Courthouse to get our marriage license, walked into the house, Pulaski County School superintendent, godly man, saw me, and he went outside and he cried. And over the years,
I guess she was his baby, huh?
She was the first grandchild to get married, and I had hair longer than yours, and it just was a shock to him. He never went anywhere without a sport coat or a suit on, just a godly man, and I was a huge disappointment. But as I grew in my faith, he and I became fast friends, and to the day that he went to heaven, he supported this ministry.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, but J.L. Watson Elementary, you graduated McClellan High School.
I did.
Some of our viewers may know Mike Malham and his dad, Coach Malham.
That's right.
I played for First Pyramid for Coach Rip, for Ripley, which a lot of people in the state know Rip, one of the finest coaches that ever coached in the state. And Mike Malham was our first baseman. And I've told the story before. Mike went to Catholic High School prior to McClellan, where his dad was also a coach, and they wanted me to play for Catholic High School for football. And I said, but Catholic High School, isn't that all guys? There's no girls there. Why do y'all go to school? And so I wouldn't do it. But it was a good thing I didn't, because just about 2 years later is when Mike transferred to McClellan, because his dad took the position there.
Okay.
And then Mike was a tremendous coach at Cabot.
Yes.
And I think he played for the Chicago Bears. And so you went to school with Mike?
Yes, and I was, as all women, girls do. I tried out for the drill team, and I was on the Linettes. And
Janet was a Linette.
really,
Yeah.
So, and as I told you before, there's 5 girls in my family. So,
And your maiden name?
is Womack.
Womack.
Or
So
Womack,
all the
yeah.
folks that are watching you going, she looks familiar. You're the Womacks from Southwest Little Rock.
And not only just the Womack, but I'm one of the Womack twins.
Yeah,
From
you have a
McClellan.
twin
I have a
sister.
twin sister, Becky.
Does she look like you?
She looks just like me.
Well, because I was shocked one day as a youngster to find out that all twins don't look alike. Mm-hmm. But y'all are, I guess, what do you call it when you look alike?
Well, I think they say you're identical twins.
Identical twins,
My
yeah.
mom said, because of back then you didn't have all those fancy tests,
Yeah.
and they really don't know for sure, but there are no other twins in the family, so that's a pretty good sign that we're identical.
Yeah.
And just as we grow up, you can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, people that know both of us can probably tell us apart just because of the way we wear our hair or the way we dress or something like that. But and she's actually the head of Department of Energy and Environment for Arkansas. She's on the governor's cabinet.
And her name?
Becky Keogh is her last name now.
And then is that the sister you said that someone said she's real smart? She's Val Victoria at McClellan?
That was my oldest sister, Judy.
Yeah.
She's in Hot Springs now,
You
retired.
had brothers? All girls?
It was all girls.
Oh,
and
your dad was spoiled rotten.
he loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
He said we put him in the poorhouse, but he said he came from a family of mainly brothers. He had
Yeah.
one sister who died young, but and then my mother had 2 brothers. So, and he was big into Boy Scouts and all about Eagle Scouts, and he was so wanting his children to be Eagle Scouts, but unfortunately they didn't let girls be Eagle Scouts back then.
So you graduated McClellan, went to ULR. Somehow, you're freshman.
I went to Fayetteville.
Fayetteville.
I went to Estoril, called it Sin City.
Oh, you went to Sin City. But you went to ULR School of Law.
I did go. I came back because I
That's where
said
you
if I
met.
want to get through law school, I've got to come and live at home. I can't be distracted at Fayetteville anymore. But I was real active in student government at Fayetteville, ran and was elected the secretary of the student body at Fayetteville. I was a political science and business major. So
At Arkansas State University, I took 3 hours of political science. Now, I didn't even take the whole semester. I just took 3 hours on one day or 1 week, and I went, this is not for me. So that's all I know about political science. But you're on the Supreme Court. Now, we're going to take a break in about 30 seconds, but you're on the Arkansas State Supreme Court, which is an elected position.
it is.
And so will you be up for another election when? 4 or 6 years
It's
from
an
now?
8-year term,
Okay, so about 6 years from now?
6 years from now.
Yeah. So we want to take a break and find out here in just a little bit, how did you meet Doyle? We want to visit that again. And how long have y'all been married? How have you stayed married? Both of you being attorneys, I guess you know not to get a divorce, huh? So we'll take a brief break. We'll be back with Barbara Webb, who is on our Arkansas State Supreme Court and a friend of Second Chance Youth Ranch and soon to be a friend of yours. So we'll take a brief break and be right back after this brief video.
My name is Adelie. I'm 9 years old. I want to be adopted so I don't to be at a facility and so I can stay home and go fun places. I would like to cuddle and play outside, and I would like to spend time with the dogs and watch movies. I like to go shopping and spend time with my dogs and sleep. Good at origami. I was looking on YouTube to find crafts and I saw how to make something and I realized it was called origami. When I grow up, I want to be a vet because I love animals. I like being the only child because I get a lot of attention.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. If for some reason you're just now tuning in, our special guest is Barbara Webb, who is on the Arkansas State Supreme Court and who has been a friend of mine and my wife and Second Chance Youth Ranch from its inception way back in about 2000?
2000.
You know, I don't know how. That's over 22 years ago, and you're not even that old.
I don't know how that happened.
But you and Doyle and your friends and associates in government have been a huge help with Second Chance Ranch and what we do on a daily basis, making a difference in the lives of children in foster care. But let's go back a little bit. I digress. You met Doyle after you graduated from Fayetteville. You came to ULR to the law school.
Correct.
You were a first-year student, and this upperclassman named Doyle Webb, who you said, not I, who was full of himself. Well, you can't get water out of an empty well. So he was kind of orchestrating the welcoming initiation, whatever, of you newbies. And y'all met,
We did.
became friends.
We did.
And somewhere along the line, did y'all marry after law school?
Oh, yes. We started dating when I guess it was probably his last year in law school, my second year, and then dated for about 5 years because I took a job out of state
Oh, you did?
when I got out of law school.
Where was
And
that? What'd you do?
I went to work for Southwestern Bell Telephone Company
Uh-huh.
and moved to Oklahoma City.
Oh.
And was there for about 3 years. It was during the breakup of AT&T and all the baby Bell companies, and so I was really busy at work. And he came to see me, and I came home a lot.
Yeah. Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
It was good working for AT&T because I had free long distance for a while. And then when they broke up the company, I had to start paying for it. But then we just did that. We really, drove I-40 a lot during that time before cell phones.
How long did it take Doyle to say yes to you asking him to marry you? Or did he ask you?
He asked me. I'd moved back to Arkansas.
Oh, you had moved
working
back.
with Bell, and he surprised me. I think he took a friend of mine to help pick out the ring, and then he surprised me with a proposal. Of course, originally, you're supposed to go to a really nice restaurant and wine and dine. You're intended.
Oh, you are?
Well, that's what he's
I
told.
didn't go to that class.
He thought that's what he would do. I think it was the Hamilton House back then. On
Lake
That's
Hamilton.
where he was going to propose.
Yeah.
So we went to Wendy's, and after a great dinner at Wendy's, he proposed to me. So.
Well, my wife and I got married.
It was Friday the 13th, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. My wife and I got married on March the 30th, 1973, and 2 weeks later we spent our honeymoon in a tent on the Buffalo River.
There you go.
And if you remember, in 1973, a tornado hit Jonesboro.
Oh, that's right.
We were at the Buffalo River that night.
Oh, my.
The morning after, we woke up and there was about 6 inches of water in the floor of our tent. The water, it was a horrific storm, wiped out Jonesboro High School gymnasium. The high school was hit, that whole neighborhood.
Yeah, we used to go yearly with a group from our church up to Tyler Bend on the Buffalo, and there were a few times we got rained out, and there's nowhere to go but to your car when that happens. So.
Now, Doyle has been involved in the political arena for a number of years. He was the head of the Republican Party for the state. He probably knows everybody in government, and if not, they know him. He knows a lot of people on the national scene. What is your involvement in politics? You're on the Supreme Court, so I know you have to separate that, but have you ever been involved in the political arena? You're a prosecutor in Saline County, weren't you?
Right. What happened, he was going to be the politician in the family, and I was going to be the lawyer, as we said.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into practice, and I left Bell and to stay once we got married because I didn't want to have to move around the country, and went with a law firm in Little Rock, and was doing that and very happy. I've been made partner with my firm, and I had come home one afternoon or evening and was griping, like sometimes wives do, about the current prosecutor in Saline County. Dan Harmon was his name. And of course it was very embarrassing, and I was very upset that the rumors on the street, it was about the time the FBI raided the offices.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And, and so I was like, why doesn't someone run against him. Nobody would run against him, and it really, I said, he's destroying the justice system.
Yeah.
And he's selling justice for
And
whatever.
Dole said,
well, what are you doing, Barbara? So I guess the rest is history, because I filed for office. Well, first I called for him to resign, which he did. I was surprised by that. And then he ran for sheriff. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I do.
And then, so I ran. Back then it was a 3-county district. We had Saline, Hot Spring, and Grant. I started campaigning, and it turned out a lot of my fellow McClellan graduates had moved to Sheridan and to Grant County. A lot of them had moved to Benton and Bryant.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks knew me that I didn't realize were in the district, as well as just people we knew. Because I'd been in the community for probably we got married in '86, so this was '96. So I'd been on the city council as an alderman, and then I was elected to fill out a term. And then, so I ran for prosecutor, wound up winning it. Dole said I wasn't supposed to. He bothered to tell me that at the front end, so I thought, I'm supposed to win. And the sheriff, and I'll never forget, in Grant County, looked at me and said, he's a very strong Christian man. Went over, met him through a mutual friend, and he said, Barbara, you seem like a nice enough gal, but you can never win this race. You're a Republican and you're a woman. So, of course, I told him that's the reason I probably won, because I was fighting the good old boy system.
But that was probably the beginning of changes, not just in Saline County, but in the state of Arkansas. Historically, Arkansas has always been the, quote, Democratic state.
Correct.
And it's changed, and Dole and you and those in that circle of influence have changed the demographic, if you will, of the state of Arkansas. This is now the #1 pro-life state.
That's
We
right.
are working diligently, feverishly, if you will, towards school choice. And it's because of people like you and Dole who have been deeply involved in making a difference. Now, I want to touch on something with our audience, because you said, I came home and I was really angry and frustrated, if you will, my words, that Saline County was in the mess it was in. Why doesn't somebody do something? That's why you're watching this show. Why doesn't somebody do something to change foster care in the nation and the state? Why doesn't somebody do something to help hurting kids? That's why you're watching. And we are somebody, and with your help, we can make a difference. There's just less than 300 students in the state of Arkansas wanting to be adopted. Why doesn't somebody do something? That's why you're watching. There are about 4,000 children in foster care in the state, many of them needing a place to live. And Second Chance Ranch is filled. We've turned away over 40 children in the past week because we don't have room. Why doesn't somebody do something? That's why you're watching. We're going to take a brief break and tell you how you can be that somebody. We'll be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2cyr.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
I want to say welcome back, somebody. You are that somebody, just like Barbara Webb, who got frustrated about what was going on in the Saline County. Really, it was kind of the political government system. And your husband said, well, girl, you are somebody. You know what? When we acknowledge that God gives us a gift to be used for His honor and glory, He'll use us. Now, Barbara, you are that somebody now serving on the Supreme Court. How do you, let me ask you this, how many are on the Arkansas Supreme Court?
There's 7 justices.
And you want to tell me the makeup of the Supreme Court?
Well, right now, there's 4 women and 3 men, so we actually have a predominantly female court.
Whew.
I know. One of the
That's
few
awesome.
in the country.
Yeah.
And I guess having 4 sisters really prepared me for this.
Yeah.
The court, of course, our Chief Judge is Dan Kemp is Chief Justice, and he has a long history of being a circuit judge up in the Batesville area. And then we have Justice Baker, who's the longest serving female justice, and she's from up in the Conway area. And then we have Justice Wood, Rhonda Wood, who's also, we have Robin Wynn, who's came out of the Camden area, and he was a minister, a Methodist minister who then went to law school and started practicing law and became a deputy prosecutor, I believe, and then wound up on the court. And we have Justice Hudson, who came from the Fayetteville area, and we actually have Justice Sean Womack, who is the same last name as mine, but not related, and he's originally from the east part of the state, from up in Mountain Home, but he now lives in northwest Arkansas.
I don't want to talk about current things before the court, because you'd probably tell me you can't, but can you tell me some of the maybe monumental cases that you've been a part of over the past 2 years?
I can. I remember that when I got elected, it was like March the 3rd, and a week later everything shut down because of COVID. And I actually was working I was chief judge at the workers' comp system, so I continued that till the end of the year, and my term began January 1 of 2020. And so I've been on the court now basically a full 2 years, I guess. We just really resumed doing oral arguments in person last month, and we're going to Paragould tomorrow to do an oral argument on Thursday. We call it Appeals on Wheels, where we go out into the schools and where the community can come watch and see what the justice system, how it works at that level. So
now, you're a person of faith, but somehow in the legal system, we're not supposed to really approach the law with a bias. We're supposed to approach it with a bias toward the Constitution. Is that right?
Well, yes. I mean, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe that the Constitution says what it means. It means what it says. I don't think we should add to it or take away from it. I don't believe it changes with time or
with society.
I mean, and that there, we do deal with. Also, the court's bound by what we call stare decisis or precedent, and so sometimes that gets us a little bit in trouble because we got courts that were more advocacy oriented, and so we have to sometimes overturn those decisions to get back to the way it should be.
How does it work? I know this is a loaded question, but how does it work between federal Constitution and federal law and being on the state Supreme Court? Do we have a state constitution, and is there a conflict sometimes?
We have our Constitution was actually, our most recent Constitution was enacted, I believe, in, I want to say 1874. I did go backwards. 1874. And so we've had it for a long time, and there's been a lot of interpretation of it. And the state Supreme Court is the final arbiter or say on what the state constitution means and how it's applied. But there is some interplay with the federal, and we've had a few cases go up from the Arkansas Supreme Court to the U.S. Supreme Court, but it's when it involved a case of federal law. I mean, it was more related to something in the federal Constitution. So our Constitution spends a lot of time talking about the constitutional offices and separation of powers within state government and what the responsibilities of the governor is and what the duties of the prosecutors. The prosecutors are constitutional officers too. Some people don't realize that. But so it talks a lot about that, but it also talks about education. It talks about a lot of different family law is a big part of our
family
work.
Law is huge. Yeah, and in the state, where our goal on this show is really about fostering, mentoring, and adopting, and all that's about legal stuff, every bit of it. I mean, I've been down at DCFS many, many times, been at the health department many times, or at the city offices, and everything I deal with, even though it's about fostering, mentoring, and adopting, there's a legal aspect. And so it's so important that we have godly people who are true to the Constitution establishing, or in your case, probably interpreting law appropriately to help us continue making a difference. This show is really designed to keep you informed and to introduce you to people in the state and the community that are friends of kids and children in care. People just like you, someone like Barbara from Southwest Little Rock, somebody like me from Jonesboro, McClellan graduate, Little Rock Central graduate when we moved later to Little Rock when I was 14 going on 15. People just like you. We've got to have people in positions of responsibility and authority that can help us make a difference by changing laws. And Barbara, as an attorney, probably can help write law, but as a Supreme Court justice, you're only there to interpret it based on precedents and the Constitution. But you need to help us. You need to vote. You need to register. This state has become the #1 pro-life state in the United States, and that's through people like Jerry Cox at Family Council and people just like you. So help us. And in doing that, we can help make a difference in the lives of children. Barbara, we got about a minute. Tell us, why should anybody be involved in fostering, mentoring, and adopting? You know the ranch, you know what we do. Why should anybody help us?
Well, I first got to know you when I was a prosecuting attorney, and that opened my eyes to the problems of our current state and foster care and child care, child welfare. And it was because of that that I wanted to meet you and wanted to help, you know, Second Chance. I also helped create a safe haven shelter in Saline County for victims of domestic violence. But because I believe my job wasn't just to go in and try the cases, which of course I did, and get the convictions, but it was also to find solutions that would live beyond me, that would be there to help people even if I wasn't in that office anymore. And so I think and who would have thought of me? You know, I was the least likely person to do anything like this. So I think your audience can think, y'all, you know, it was part of my, you know, going to church every Sunday and working in the community that caused me to want to help other people that were less fortunate than me. And I think that's what you do every day, and that's why I support you every way I can.
Yeah, and we appreciate you and Dole. We are here to bring solutions to fostering, mentoring, and adopting. We reserve the right to get better. So join us and make a difference right here at 2CYR-TV and 2CYR.org. You have a gift that needs to be given away. I want to thank Barbara and, in previous shows, her husband Dole for making a difference every day in the public arena. God bless you. We'll see you next time right here at 2CYR-TV. Bye-bye.